In. We're in game number 3 right now. I kind of got caught up with myself a little bit there. I accidentally called it for Hendralisk. So for whatever reason, I thought that was game number 3. And I thought Hendralisk, we were tied up 1-1 already. But now we're actually tied up 1-1. Starting down here at the bottom right side of King Sejong Station, we have Hendralisk. His opponent over at the top left side of the map, representing flip side, it is SaroVati. Raffle, I can't believe I did that. I'm so embarrassed. I apologize. That's like worse than calling like a early GG. That's like you're calling a GG on the series before it even ends. Feel really bad. Well, for those that are kind of wondering kind of what's going on around the StarCraft world as well, I actually didn't get a chance to watch any of Code A last night, but I know by broadcasting the Red Bull qualifiers yesterday, Impact and Pult, they're going to be going to the global finals in Santa Monica in a couple of weeks, so if you ever get a chance, congratulate them as well. Pult was a wrecking ball yesterday, and Impact just was cold-blooded himself, man. Looked really dangerous. If you guys actually didn't hear the story, this is really funny because Oli Moly, Olivia, she does some of the house reports and kind of some of the house stories from Axiom Team House, and apparently when I'll have to read this word by word eventually, but I'll paraphrase. Basically, Impact played at 3 in the morning, like all the acts has. They played at 3 in the morning, ended at about 11 o'clock. He went to go grab lunch, but he was so tired. Slept on his way over to meet his friend for lunch. His friend, because he slept on the way over to meet his friend, he didn't see a text canceling on lunch, bailing out on him. So Impact, instead of going home right away, he was so tired, he just found apparently a random bathroom to fall asleep in for an hour. Woke up later to somebody banging on the bathroom, and then headed home. He was so tired he didn't want to make the journey home, so he actually found a random bathroom in Korea and just slept there for an hour. I don't know if I'd ever feel that comfortable or trust myself enough to do something like that. I don't know. So like the bathrooms in Korea must be really nice and luxurious to do that. To just go in there, sit down, and just pass out for a little while. Like if I'm home, like sitting on the can on like my own, but maybe, I don't know. Like I have a bed a few feet away. I think I could make it to my bed rather than fall asleep over there. But yeah, no, that was just a really funny story I read this morning. Olivia posted it. Really funny. So Henry, he does find the probe right now. No expansion out just yet. Okay, there we go. Here it comes. Should be coming. A little bit more of an aggressive opener coming out from SaroVati. He is dropping the expansion, but he got a couple Zelts out in the mothership core before throwing it actually down. So Sentry on the way, of course, to be able to actually defend against anything that might be able to run by. Of course, Sentry could clear out a couple lings without too many issues. Two Zelts up in front with the mothership core. 3 queens going to push this mothership core most likely off, and indeed they are. Kind of didn't beat the buzzer. If there was only 2 queens there, I think he would have been a little bit better off and might have been able to take him on. No third hatch really for him to hunt down, and right now Hendra, he just needs to start spreading the creep down there. He's in a pretty good position just to macro from the 2 base right now, and he spots, and he knows, of course, with the Overlord in position, he knows the timing of his opponent as well. He knows that there's no wall. If he doesn't need to really hurry too much, usually maybe in about a minute at worst he needs to throw it down, but he still has a lot of time to work with. Instead, Hendralisk looking to actually break through the rocks over here on the right side of the map. Might actually just go for the hatchery over here. Very interesting decision. And I am starting to see that a lot more. Zergs, they usually still, you know, majority of the time do take the 3rd hatch over here, but when it comes down to taking a 4th hatchery, they're really avoiding this one over here. They usually leave that to be the 5th or maybe even the 6th because there's also this frontal base over here. But a lot more Zergs are starting to, you know, like this right here because it is a little bit easier, a little bit less distance and area to cover if your creep spread is really well. Time Warp gets thrown down, and well, the 10 seconds. See, the 10 seconds doesn't apply. Look at the 10 seconds doesn't apply. Maybe if that second queen, you know, walked into it and stayed around, but it doesn't really apply. Hydralisk, of course, micros out of it really well. Pull some drones off the line to help him out there for the moment. But yeah, like I said, right there, this is the that's the Time Warp change. Like it's so worthless. It's so worthless. David Kim balanced him. Yo, guys, like shout out for the mine change. I don't think the mines really needed a change, but the problem with it's the photon overcharge. It's not the Time Warp. It was not the Time Warp ever. Worthless, just pointless change, in my opinion. There's gonna, and I know somebody. There's gonna be that game. There's gonna be that game where, you know, somebody gets caught up in a Time Warp, stays and fights inside the Time Warp, it ends, and because of that he moves a little bit quicker and, you know, kills something off, and somebody's gonna be like, oh my god, see, balance, hashtag balance changes. Like, no, like it's gonna be very slow instances. It's not a huge game. It's not a game changer. That's what it is. It's not a game changer. So Henry breaks down the rocks. Third base is almost up for him. Starting to spread the creep down that way. I wouldn't be surprised if he started also. I mean, I would probably actually encourage him to start spreading creep on the right side as well. Because, you know, some of those pressures and some of those aggressions can come through outside as well. I've actually seen several Immortal Sentry all-in builds from Protoss that managed to break down that side of the wall off. They break down the rocks and then they go for it. Now, big aggression coming in here with sentries. Forward pylons getting placed. How many gates does SaroVati have? It looks like a total of 3, so not a lot of warp in support. He might do this little cutesy play. I don't know if any of you guys have watched Jacques yet, the 15-year-old. But this is kind of sort of what he does. He comes up with some sentries, pokes a little bit, does a little bit of warping, does a little bit of dancing around, backs off, comes out, does it again, and eventually, by the time he comes back the second time, recalls back, he's got Colossus already back at home, ready for them to join the army. But there are some forward pylons placed here, so we can't forget about those. There's still some probes over here as well that are staying alive, just in case. Is SaroVati going to be going for that third Nexus? Looks like he had... No, he was thinking about it, but now he completely... Oh no, there's that backside over there. I was about to say, I'm like, he completely walled off. Adding some Stalkers. Well, if he wants to take the third base, I think he could do it now. There's a pretty heavy influx of roaches and lings right now on this side of the map, but I think... I don't know if Henry has enough to actually break through. And especially if he tries to hug the high ground. Now what this is going to do, this will delay the third base. Hydralisk, what is he doing behind this? He's getting drones, he's getting the infestation pit. +2 is underway. War Prism, though, is in the game, and it is in position right now for SaroVati if he wanted to warp in. But his focuses are so deep over here on this side of the map, I'm a little bit worried for him. Force fields get tossed down, does catch a couple of roaches. Hey, I mean, hey, as long as you're not losing units of your own, I guess that works. Catches a couple more, gets some completely surrounded Mothership Core, of course, hopping around, poking out. I think he should be able to take a third base if he really wanted to now, but he might just go for the aggression. He's got a Colossus out right now. He still has a lot of sentries. They're going to be recovering energy as they walk across the map, and that's exactly what he's doing. Warp Prism in position. Does Hydralisk not see that? Hydralisk actually doesn't see that. Check that out. That's what I was wondering. I'm like, why is he not reacting to it or doing anything? He actually can't see it due to the creep and due to the positioning and everything else. He's actually just barely out of the way. War Prism gets in position to fly over. Actually, the good scout for him because he does spot the swarm host. Henry the swarm host, man. Now, we do have a sentry getting warped in back at home due to the lings breaking through. He's putting down a forward just in case, so he could probably put a cannon up. Now, we had this discussion yesterday when Nesty and Harston played each other. Nesty was able to beat Harston just due to the fact that he had the sheer will of Swarm Host. 2 Colossus should not be able to get the job done. There are quite a few force fields available for him to border and kind of force them back for the time being. But he's got to be very careful with his positioning because, yeah, there we go. He's got to really shield it up. But the problem is the roaches are going to buffer. They're going to buy a lot of time for Hydralisk. He's going to run out of force fields eventually, and once he runs out of force fields, the Locusts are going to run free. They're about to get their extended life upgrade. Getting getting that extended warranty upgrade, Locust is going to live a little bit longer. No rebates. Does manage to snipe the third hatch down, and he recalls out, so you know, hey, that's about as cost effective as you could ask for right there. Didn't lose too many units, had to use up a lot of force fields, but I think he attained his goal, was able to get that hatchery. Meanwhile, inside the main base, Warp Prism goes in for the Zealots. Zealots, of course, will get a Roach. Not sure if they're going to really get anything else. Might get another Roach. But this is kind of problematic for Henry right now, a little bit. He's got to get a third hatch up again. If Colossus production does stay consistent for SaroVati, he might be able to just push through with this with Blink and Colossus. If you guys have seen somebody like Rain play, that's exactly his style. You just get quick plus upgrades, get 6 Colossus, 6-7 Colossus, and take the initial frontal hit with the Stalkers, blink back over them, the AoE or the Colossus will clear everything out, and then blink on top of the Swarm Host. Now SaroVati, typically somebody that's been trying to grab his third base always at about the 7 to 6 minute mark, even the 8 minute mark, getting his third base up at the 15 minute mark, but this works out for him, because again, due to him sniping down that third hatch, it's 2 base to 2 base, so it's not a bad position to find yourself in. Really, your biggest worry is Colossus. Now, I like this from SaroVati. He's adding a second Robo. This is a pretty good idea. This is pretty smart, because now he can produce double Colossus. He'll be able to get to that critical mass a lot quicker. +1 attack upgrades underway, so no +3 anytime soon, but, you know, hey, anything that could really help out is going to be very useful. Henry, meanwhile, going to be going for the +3 missile, but he really needs to make sure he gets some additional hatches producing as well. War Prism's still alive right now for SaroVati. It's going to be interesting. If SaroVati can just give himself, I want to say, 2 minutes to 2.5 more minutes, I think he's going to be in a decent position to actually win this game. Not just, you know, trade well, but win it. The double Colossus production is going to put him in a very nice scenario. Because, again, with all of these force fields and all of this energy regenning, he's going to be able to cut up the Roaches very efficiently. Colossus are going to burn them down very quickly. After they burn them down, they're going to be heading after the Locust. They clear out the Locust, and like I said, just blink on top of the Swarm Host or push on through. Now here he comes, going for the Infestation pick, comes through the natural. We'll be able to snipe both the Roach Warren and everything else. He's got the Mothership Core with a lot of energy once again, so after he picks all of this off, he could just recall on back home again. This is actually a really fantastic play, just very technique-oriented, very finesse, very just, you know, finessing him down. He's not doing anything special. He's not all-inning. He's not going crazy. He's just poking, utilizing the map to his best advantage, and you know, doing what he can with them. And he's continuing to push on through. So, meanwhile, back at home, 2 Colossus are waiting, and that's the thing why I think he's not going to commit fully to it unless he actually somehow manages to break through everything. He's about out of force fields, and I think as soon as he's out of force fields, that's when we're going to see him push back and probably recall. Yeah, there we go. Basically out of force fields, that's about that time you need to do so. Poor Roaches. Imagine being a Roach, just having like 4 Colossus and a bunch of Stalkers just warped in on top of you. Ugh. Fourth hatch up for Hendralisk, 5th hatch almost finished up. Of course, he needs to retake his natural at some point as well. Still a good amount of minerals and, of course, gas economy that could come from it. Though, due to that, he will have to put himself in a position where he has to put the Swarm Hosts out here. He doesn't exactly have the most efficient creep spread out on the map, and due to that, the Locusts won't be able to travel as quick and as cover as much ground, and also know the path that they should be trying to take. Meanwhile, over here, +1 upgraded Zealots. Looks like a 5-man hit squad. Gonna try to take this hatchery out. Are they gonna be able to get it? It might get really close. We'll get it, actually. They will get it. I was just looking at the DPS, I'm like, that hatchery's going down way too quick, and Hendralisk loses another hatchery. This is not good. I'm really worried about him right now. I'm really worried about him. He's dropping a Spire, he's trying to rebuild drones, but the lack of larva concerns me. He's got look at the amount of Colossus out on the map. Swarm Hosts aren't going to be able to deal with this. So hopefully Hendralisk has some really nice Viper micros, going to be able to get some really nice snags on top of his own units. Because if he doesn't, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. Now, at this point in time, I would encourage SaroVati to grab a 4th base, but he needs some more ground support along with the Colossus. He needs some more Stalkers. He needs some more potential heavier, thicker units that could tank actually in case he does get into a little bit of a scuffle with his opponent. I would like to see some Archons, but at the same time, Storms and Templars do work pretty well as well because, well, AoE Storms do help clear out the Locust packs. SaroVati coming through down the bottom right side of the map. He's going to be head-hunting that natural once again, and this time not only is he going to be able to get probably through the natural, he could probably head his way up inside the main, and look at how much tech is up here. He's got the Hive, he's got the Spire, the Roach Warren. Really just not a lot available for him, and right now poor coLHendralisk, he's out of position. His Swarm hosts are still over here by this base. Yeah, this is just basically game over. Like, everything that's coming out is coming to its death as well. That's the thing that really sucks right now for coLHendralisk. Everything that walks out is going to its death. He's going to lose his Spire, no more Corruptors, no more, you know, Mutas if he even wanted to build them. He hasn't actually built any. Overlords are getting picked off. This Hive is completely compromised. Everything else, all the tech that's over here, coLHendralisk is going to have to rebuild. coLHendralisk trying to reposition himself. Force field's going down there, blockading everything off, and the best part about this, once this attack is done, recall on out. That's all it takes. One snag on top of the Roaches, Storm. All the Roaches get roasted down. Locusts are the only ones alive with the Corruptors and the Vipers. I don't know what Henry can do. I don't know what Henry can do. He's got no spawning pool, he's got no Roach Warren, he has no Hydralisk Den, he's got no Infestation Pit, he's got no Spire. He can't technically produce anything other than Queens, and he can't even produce Queens. He can only produce drones right now. Well, at this point, looks like our Protoss player SaroVati's on a little bit of a warpath. He's just going to continue on through here. One more Colossus does get yanked. That's not really too big of a deal at this point. The Vipers do not have enough energy on the backside over here. Stalker's coming on in. I think SaroVati has this game. Hendril is dropping down 83 supply. GG is called, and SaroVati ends up being the player that breaks through to the round of 8.